Hello and welcome to Carla Knits. This is a podcast about knitting, crocheting, and always all of the yarny goodness that I love. Today is Monday, June 23rd, and I'm coming to you from my home in Nebraska. A big hello and welcome to all new and returning viewers. Thank you so much for spending some of your time with me to follow along on my crafty adventures. Patterns and yarns that I talk about will be linked in the show notes down below, as long as places you can find me on the internet, Instagram and Ravelry. Today I have one finished object, a couple half objects, some works in progress. I have pulled out an old WIP, or work in progress. I have some stash acquisition, and I will talk about an upcoming make-along. So we will go ahead and get started. My finished object for today is my corner to corner blanket. And there's not a great way to show this, but here it is. This blanket I started in February and I finished on June 2nd. This is a crochet blanket using DK weight, mainly DK weight yarn scraps or yarn leftovers, and along with some purchased minis and maybe broke into a few full skeins too. Let's see, this is a crochet blanket. It's based on the dishcloth pattern C2C corner to corner moss stitch dishcloth by Agat Rottman, and it's very much pastels. My mom thinks it looks like Neapolitan ice cream or ice cream colors. Hi Mom, if you're watching. I really love how the colors turned out. To join in the new yarns, I did magic knot everything. I did want to block this, so I just, given that it was a DK weight, I didn't want to just submerge it in a tub and try squishing it out. So I actually did put it on a delicate cycle in my washing machine, and it still came out very, very heavy. And so I did dry it. I know, dried it on low, which was fine. I think if I did this again, I probably would not do magic knot because it has come apart in some places. So I do need to go back and weave in some ends. I had to re-knot a couple places. So that was maybe the only issue I had. But I am so happy with the colors of this blanket. It is a nice weighted blanket, so it's probably going to be too warm for summer. I know I had said I might take a nap under this when I was finished with it, but I think the heat of summer is now here. So later in the fall, a nap under this would be good. But I really enjoyed this whole process. This dishcloth pattern I have made as dishcloths before. So corner to corner moss stitch or linen stitch and crochet. It's very fun. It's very easy to execute. Yeah, I just don't have enough good things to say. I am very happy to have this finished. I think I got it really finished before the true heat of summer, which we are officially in summer now, before the heat of summer started. So it feels good to have completed this project. So I love scrappy blankets, and this one was very fun. All right, I think that is all I have to say. Oh, one more thing. I based the size on a blanket, like a throw that I had in my living room, and it turned out, so you knit it diagonally. Let's see if I can find the starting point. Okay, so the starting point was here, and it increases. I'm probably holding it upside down. and it increases out in a diagonal, and you get it to the width that you want, then you continue up to for the length, and then you start your decreases to come into the final. So you're decreasing all the way back down to a corner. So this was my beginning portion, and this is my end. This is my ending portion. The final measurements are approximately 46 inches wide by 60 feet, no, 60 inches long. So it is a very nice throw size. It will be perfect to cuddle up, or cuddle up and watch TV, cuddle up and read a book, or take a nap. So very happy. So that is my only finished object for today, but it is a big project that I've had around since February. So it felt very good to complete this project. I have two half objects today. Both are socks. The first I showed, I think I just had the cuff that I was working on last time. So here is, and none of the ends have been woven in yet on this, but this is, the pattern is Wildflower and Honeycomb socks by This Handmade Life. This pattern was gifted to me by Beth. Hi, Beth. I really enjoyed this pattern, but I'm going to tell you what I did. I was very excited to start this, and I thought I grabbed my typical US 1, which is what I make my socks on. And I was knitting along, and I had the cuff done, and I had part of the leg done. And then I was sitting outside knitting, and I kind of stretched it out. I'm like, gosh, this is really looking big. And I had sent a picture to Beth saying, look, I'm working on this pattern. And then I realized that I had been knitting on a US 1.5. So I was getting a much too big of fabric. Well, not that big, but it was going to be too wide and too slouchy. So I did have to rip back the whole thing, which was a few hours of knitting. But I started over again on a US 1. And now I have completed the first sock. The yarn is yarn is Homestead Fibers. The colorway, the main color is Tory, and this contrast is Sam. I just think this is so pretty and summery or springy. It starts with a 1x1 twisted rib and then goes into this floral pattern. One very interesting part of this pattern is the heel, which is a honeycomb texture. I had never done this type of texture, or this, it's a heel flap and gusset, but I had never done this texture on it, and I think it turned out really, really pretty. The yarn was purchased at Seven Sisters Yarn and Fiber in St. Louis a few years ago. And this will be a gift. It will be a gift for my mom. I did tell her that already. So I will be working on this for Christmas for her. So one is done, and she did get to see the sock in person, and she really likes it. So I'm happy about that. But the colors are just so pretty, and I'm really excited to finally use this yarn. I think the yarn and the pattern of the sock are just perfect together. So that is my first half object. It has been living in this bag that I had gotten from my friend Lou Ann with our 12 mini skeins of Christmas swap last year, 2024, and it is a magnetic bag. I love it. It is by Mr. Indigo's Bags, and this goes into my works in progress. I have just part of the cuff started. And I will say about the cuff, that made me think about what I wanted to say. When I started the first sock on the US 1.5 and was doing the twisted ribbing, it seemed to take so long, and it actually kind of tired my fingers out. And I figured, well, it was just because it's twisted rib and I'm not used to doing twisted rib. But then once I switched it to the correct needle size, the US 1, the twisted rib seemed to go just fine. So I was glad about that, because it was really kind of taxing on the hands, but with the US 1, it is just fine. So the yarn is an 80-20 makeup, so 80% superwash merino, 20% nylon. It's a very plump yarn, absolutely beautiful. So there we go. All right, my second half object is another sock, and it has been living in this summery bag with swimsuits and flip-flops, sun hats, sunglasses. I have a couple of my summer sock camp pins from years past, fun anchor top for that. And this also goes a little bit into stash enhancement. So I bought this skein of yarn, which you can't tell exactly what it's going to be, but this is called Monarch Butterfly. It's by Artistic Yarns by Abby, and I don't know if you can see that. It came with a little butterfly charm, Monarch Butterfly charm, and I have the first sock completed. So this is a self-striping yarn, just a plain vanilla sock. I do 20 rounds of knit to purl to ribbing, do my leg for a certain length, heel flap and gusset, and then worked down and a rounded toe. This is going to be a gift for my husband's aunt, Gail. In the past, she has done work with Monarch Butterflies. She is very much into nature and into gardening and into butterflies. I had knit her a Monarch Butterfly hat, which I will put a picture in. And when I saw this yarn, I thought this would be perfect. If you are not familiar with Artistic Yarns by Abby, if you love self-striping yarns, I would definitely encourage you to go and check out her shop. She has so many fun self-patterning yarns. I do have another one in my stash from years ago. It's Monopoly sock yarn, so based on the colors of a Monopoly game. And after knitting this, I figured I should probably pull that out because this was super fun. This sock seemed to knit up really quickly. I was just knitting a little bit here and there, and I have a first sock done. So I think that is all I wanted to say, but I have admired Artistic Yarns by Abby for some time, and there are so many fantastic colorways that I would like to order, but this one called my name because I knew the perfect person for this sock yarn, and I think that Aunt Gail will really appreciate this. So really fun. And I just Kitchenered the toe a little while ago today, so I do not have that second sock on the needles yet, but I will definitely cast that on soon. All right, my other work in progress is in this bag. This is by Ginger Root Bags on Etsy. I love this floral print and this fun cork handle. Sadly, she no longer sells bags, but it has been one of my favorites. I started the Wioletta cardigan by Vert and Rose. I feel like I'm Vert and Rose. It's French. Is it? I think so. Sorry, I'm doubting. If you saw my Lindehobby unboxing video, I had gotten 2 sweater quantities of yarn to make 2 separate cardigans, both by Vert and Rose. There we go, Vert and Rose. So I did a swatch for this sweater. It's been a little bit crinkled up in my bag, but that was my swatch. It has that fun little floral, it's a cable, but it looks like little flowers. And I did cast on for this. So you start at the upper back, and this is what I have so far. It's not in a great stage to truly show you. It is a top-down cardigan. The construction is a little different than what I've done before. The yarn that I am using is Drops Flora. It's a fingering weight yarn, but this pattern is a DK weight pattern, and so I'm using the yarn that the designer used. It's holding 2 strands of the Drops Flora together. It's in the color, the number is 26 in the lemonade color. It is a 65% wool, 35% alpaca. It is so nice to work with. What am I wanting to say? I'm not entirely sure about the little flowers. They don't look as tidy maybe as I would like them. I did not want to, because it is a cable, I decided with this all over texture, I did not want to use a cable needle. So I tried 2 different techniques of like twisting stitches to execute the stitches. So it's okay. They're just not, like I said, they're not the tidiest, but blocking definitely helped when I did block this. So again, blocking will help the stitches. This pattern is not the easiest to comprehend. And so I guess I won't say I stalled on it, but I stopped working on it. I finished like the upper back, and I think I'm on either the right or left shoulder, or going to be on the left or right shoulder. But I stopped because we had company. My parents come to town, and this one requires much more brain, much more of an awake and alert brain than say a sock. And so I definitely need to have all of my concentration when working on this. I was writing to my friend Susan of Delightful Works because she was working on this pattern too. Susan, I am wondering how you are doing, if you've gotten farther on your sweater or on your cardigan. I'm very anxious to get back to this, and so I hope to pick this up again this week, but I have made some really decent progress. When I swatched for it, my stitch count per 4 inches was on, but my row gauge was off by 1, I believe. So that's not horrible. Or was it off by 2? At any rate, I do have to pay close attention in the pattern because you do have to follow rows also. I'm probably not making much sense, but at any rate, I am doing the best I can reading this pattern. So again, not the easiest pattern, and I don't know if it's just the way this designer writes, and maybe there's a little bit of yeah, just because I haven't, you know, worked with her patterns before, but I'm glad I have this much done. I really look forward to having this. I love this beautiful shade of yellow. I just think it is so calm and comforting, and I just think this will be such a comfortable, cozy little cardigan to throw over. So absolutely love it. Love the look of the finished cardigan. We will see as I continue the pattern how I enjoy knitting it. When I did that unboxing video, I had the 2 yarns, sweater quantity yarns, and the other yarn was for the Isa cardigan by Vert and Rose, and I have swatched for that cardigan as well. This is made in Drops Cotton Merino, which is a DK weight yarn, 50% wool, 50% cotton. This is color number 28 in the powder colorway, and it is just the palest pink, but it's almost a lilac-y pink. It is just really, really pretty. I swatched. My swatch is not exactly matching up to the designers, but I like the fabric that I'm getting. It's a very nice and drapey fabric. Both of these drops yarns are just a dream to work with. They just feel so good. I did swatch for this, but it's been a couple weeks now. I may go ahead and start this cardigan too. The last one, the Wioletta cardigan, is a top down, and the Isa cardigan is a bottom up, and it starts with ribbing. So I think that will be manageable enough or easy enough to get started on that. So we will see when this cardigan gets started, but love this yarn. If you haven't watched that unboxing video, I would encourage you to do so. Such a positive experience ordering from Lindehobby. The prices were very, very reasonable. The shipping, extremely reasonable, and the time that it came was fantastic. So a very, very good experience with Lindehobby. All right. So that brings me to the end of what I have been working on, or what I hope to continue working on or get started working on. I pulled out a very old project, and this was inspired by Shannon of Another Yarns. She had gone to the Estes Park Wool Festival and had met this particular knitting designer, and she shared this, and it just brought back a lot of memories because the book she showed I bought a while ago and started a project in it, and Shannon has already completed the project, which is amazing. But let me share this with you. This comes from a children's book. This is by Joanna Johnson. The book and the knitting patterns are by Joanna Johnson, and her husband Eric Johnson illustrates the book. So it comes with a story, and it comes with a knitting pattern. And I am lucky enough to have gotten both of their autographs on my copy. Best I can remember is that I purchased this book in 2013 or 14, and maybe some of my in-person knitting friends will remember the exact year. The Brown Sheep Yarn Company out in Scottsbluff, Nebraska hosted a yarn retreat, and with classes and vendors, and I was going to take a class with Joanna Johnson, and it was actually going to be on another book that she had written, Freddys Blanket. Again, a story with some wonderful patterns. And the class was going to be on knitting Freddys Blanket. Let me show you. So this is Freddys Blanket. It uses, and you can see that blanket on the front cover, it uses slipped stitches, and I was a fairly new knitter. I started knitting in 2013, so whether this was fall of 2013 or 2014, I was still a very new knitter. It comes with 3 different sizes in the pattern: 12-inch, 32-inch, 40-inch. I made the 12-inch size, I believe. Yeah, I believe the 12-inch size. And I made the blanket, and I believe I gave it to my daughter when she had her American Girl dolls. I looked through some of her stuff today and I could not find it, so I would have loved to have shown it. But again, this comes with several different patterns in here to go along with the story. Well, anyway, Phoebe's sweater, Shannon talked about on her podcast, and she completed the Phoebe Mouse. And it made me realize I probably should at some point finish Phoebe Mouse. So this is what Phoebe Mouse looks like so far. And the stitches are not the most even, especially in the head and the neck area. And I thought, well, should I pull it out and reknit? And I thought, no, because this is kind of you know, this was my beginning knitting journey, and so those stitches, they're a little uneven, and that's okay. But I have the Phoebe Mouse body. I have her little tail, and I have this beautiful little dress that is included. That pattern is included. And I'm just going to show you how much I have done of this mouse. So she's got most of her body done, and then I have, let's see, in this bag I have her ears, and I think the ears would be the only part left to put on her, and then I need to figure out if I'm going to embroider on her eyes. Let's see if I can find a cute picture of her. Maybe you can see that there, if I would embroider her eyes or not. So she's so close to being done, but she has been tucked away in this bag for years, just for years. And I do know why I stalled on this project. I also worked on her coat, and so I got the body of the coat done, but I stalled out on, I think you have to pick up stitches for the arms. So again, as a newer knitter, I think that is the part that got me, and so I never completed the coat. But she is so close to being done. It is so silly not to have completed her. So I think I really should pull this out and finish this sweet project. The yarn that was used is Brown Sheep Lamb's Pride Superwash Bulky. The color, let's see, the color is, I thought I had written this down. Oh, I wrote it on the wrong page. Oats and Cream for the color of the body. The pretty dress is in the Strawberry Chiffon colorway, and that's also her little tail. And then the coat is in the Mint Cream colorway. And I just think that is so pretty together. So should I finish working on Phoebe Mouse? I definitely think that I should. Yep, so she's just been sitting in this bag. I'm not one for keeping too many works in progress around, but this one was definitely one of my longest outstanding whips that I have had. So over 10 years. So it's about time to get her done. You can purchase the books, I think, on Amazon, and also they have a shop on Etsy. So I will link the Etsy shop down below. But especially if you have any littles in your life, I think it would be really sweet, a book and the stuffed animal, and you can even make clothing that matches for your grandchild to the doll. So very, very sweet books. And I know there are a number of books that they have with those, with the story and the patterns. So very, very sweet. I just thought it would be fun to pull that out. I was so inspired by you, Shannon. All right, going into some stash enhancement. Where did I put that? The first is in preparation for Nitty Natty's Sock Week. She has some sponsored projects or products for Sock Week. And right now I cannot tell you when Sock Week is. I believe it's sometime in July. And maybe some of you can tell me exactly when that is. But I got this sock set. So this is a 50 gram plus a 20 gram sock set. It's a self-striping yarn in the banana split with waffle cone colorway. I just think that is so fun and summery. So I will wait to cast this on for Sock Week with Nitty Natty. Just such fun. So Polka Dot Creek hand-dyed yarn. I think this is my first Polka Dot Creek yarn, but very, very fun. So looking forward to casting that on. I was very excited to find more Maker's Haven yarn. I've talked about that lots on this podcast, but Maker's Haven yarn, Amber Who No Longer Dies. But this sock set was in Destash by Stitching the High Notes. So this is a 70 gram sock set. It has a lot of sparkle to it. I don't know if the camera will pick up the sparkle, but this just looks like a beautiful fall color to me. So I think I will use that in the fall to make some socks. And I probably will make shorty socks. Probably not the Rose City Rollers, but still some shorter socks for myself. The colorway is The Finest Words Ever Said to Me. And this was really exciting to find this yarn on Destash. And then my final acquisition for this time is Patons Kroy socks. I have been just looking at their colorways and really admiring them. So I bought this. This is in the Midnight Orchid colorway. So they come as 50 gram skeins. I believe that's right. Yeah, 50 gram skeins, 75% wool, 25% nylon. This is in the Midnight Orchid colorway. It is a self-striping. I just think those colors are so pretty. Beth, I was looking, if you're watching, Beth, I was looking on your project page on Ravelry just to see what you were working on, and I believe this is a colorway that you were working on, and I loved how that was knitting up. So you definitely inspired me with this colorway. I have made at least one pair of Patons Kroy socks. I did it a couple years ago. I made let's see, I made a pair of socks in, I think, the seashell colorway for my sister-in-law, and I used this yarn and knit it on a US 1, and it was very difficult on my hands to knit on a US 1, and it knit up very, very sturdy, very, very sturdy. I want to say like armor, and I know my sister-in-law wears them and everything, but they were not the most enjoyable to knit. So I got on Ravelry. I just wanted to see, kind of look around and see what other people, you know, use to knit their Patons Kroy sock yarn, because it definitely is a thicker yarn, in my opinion. So I found a free pattern on Ravelry that I'm going to try. It's called My Patons Kroy Socks by Sara Turner, and it uses a US 2. So it will use less stitches and should knit up a little bit faster, and I'm hoping it will be much kinder and gentler to my fingers. So yeah, I have lots of Patons Kroy yarns. I don't know if I have them saved in Etsy or maybe I have them saved on Amazon, just colorways that I really like. But I'm gonna see how this knits up and if I like that US 2 pattern. But looking forward to that. All right, an upcoming make-along. I needed to get this podcast out because we have an upcoming make-along starting on July 1st. So this will be the 5th annual Merry Make-Along. It starts on July 1st and goes through August 31st. It is a Christmas in July make-along, but it's called the Merry Make-Along. But the idea is to get a head start on your gift making or making something for yourself for the holidays. Works in progress are allowed. There is going to be one thread, which I will need to get up within the next week. So one thread with both chatter and finished objects. Any craft that you are doing, it can be knitting. I know it's mostly probably knitting and crocheting, but we've had people make blankets before, or if you're doing, or like quilts, or so sewing, weaving, any of those crafts are welcome. Cross stitching, yep, anything goes. So chatter thread and finished object thread together. If you have a finished object, you can post a picture twice for that. So your finished object weighs more than a single chatter post. I hope that makes sense. You are welcome to double dip in any knit-alongs or make-alongs that are going on. I will pick 2 winners at the end of the make-along to receive Ravelry pattern prizes up to $10 US. I hope that you will join in. I have, let's see, what do I have? Well, the pair of socks for my mom, and then I do have some other upcoming, or some other additional Christmas plans of things I'd like to make that I will be sharing in the next podcast. So I'd love to have you join in over on Ravelry. That will be linked down below. I'd love to hear what you plan to make, how many gifts you typically like to make for Christmas. I mean, I don't go super crazy because it's just, I don't have enough knitting time. I don't think, but it is very fun, and I always feel good getting some gifts done ahead of time. So I hope that you will join in. Just a little bit of chatter. The month of June has gone by so fast. I can hardly believe that we're almost nearing the end. We're a week away. Summer has officially started. It has been very hot and humid here. Very hot this past weekend. We were in the upper 90s. And very, very windy. I'm sure some of you were the exact same way this weekend. Today is cooler, but it is stickier. So, yeah, I think that summer sticky, humid weather is here and probably here to stay. So, yeah, I'm very glad I got that blanket project done. I probably won't be picking up any or making any blankets this summer, and I hope I will still feel like I want to work on those sweaters, but the socks are definitely calling my name. They are just such a quick, easy project and very lightweight. I don't get overheated working on those projects. Yeah, we had my parents come for a visit this month, and we had a very nice time. We got to take my mom to the lake to go on our sailboat. We got trip to the pool. We visited Lincoln, had lots of nice dinners, played lots of games. But my dad had an accident on the way out. He fell and hurt his leg pretty badly and required stitches. So it turns out that when their visit time was up, my husband Jeff and I decided that maybe they would like it if we helped drive them back to Michigan. So that is where I was last week. We drove my parents back to Michigan, so it was kind of fun caravanning across the country. I drove my mom and dad's car with mom and dad in it, and Jeff took our car. So it was a fun trip, going on a trip with my parents back to Michigan. And we did stay there a couple days and got to enjoy, my parents live in the Spring Lake, Grand Haven area, and we got to enjoy walking the boardwalk, seeing the lighthouse. We even went to the beach one day and just sat on the beach, listening to the waves, watching the birds, stuck our feet in the water. It was just so enjoyable. So that was a little bit of an unexpected trip. And my dad is still healing from that accident, but I'm glad that we were able to do that, to take my parents back and to spend some time with them in Michigan. I got to see my sister Laura and have a nice hour or two of conversation. So that was a real treat. So I think that brings us to the end of this episode. I would love to hear what you are working on. If you want to tell me about your weather, if you want to tell me what projects you like to work on in the summer, I would just love to hear any of that. If you're going to be joining in the Merry Makealong, yeah, please share that too. So if you made it this far and liked this episode, I would appreciate it if you would give it a thumbs up and subscribe to this channel. And I look forward to talking to you all and seeing you in the next episode. Take care. Bye-bye.